Hey everyone, Sean Taggy. Today I'm going to go into deep dive into something that's really interesting to me that I am pursuing myself, which is private equity. What is private equity? How do you go about doing it? What would it take to invest in it or do it yourself? And I'll be explaining kind of my business plan and theory and model of what I'm doing currently and the type of business I'm looking for that has a lot of potential and value that I can personally add to it to grow the EBITDA or the net profits in that business. All right, private equity investing in the mind of Sean Taggy. So, what is private equity and how does it work? Okay, so there's lots of businesses and people do this on a small scale, like I'm trying to do, or on very large scales and buy billion-dollar businesses. You see it all the time with big businesses going around doing this. But basically, let's say there's a small business out there and I'm looking to buy it. And let's say theoretically, that's just a example deal, just one I made up in my head. Let's say it has $6 million in revenue, $1 million in EBITDA. So that's earning before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, basically the net operating income that it's having. And let's say it's for sale for $4 million. And then I need also some due diligence, some purchase costs, some lender fees, and other fees involved of $200,000 to buy it. So $4.2 million total purchase price. Let's say I get this business and I'm going to get an SBA loan. It's a loan by the Small Business Administration that allows me to get up to 90% financing, but I'm going to go low leverage on this one just for this theory here. And let's say I put $2.1 million in debt. And then also I get a seller note. The seller, believes in the business and agrees to, back me with a $420,000 seller finance note on it. So it's 60% leveraged at this point. So we still need 40% of the equity to come up with the business. Okay. So in order to do that, obviously I could just come up with all that money myself, sell almost all my properties and do that, or I could bring on other investors or other partners and we could pool all of our money together to raise the equity to purchase the rest of this business. So what you do in here in private equity, that's what this is called, is you have general partners and limited partners. So the general partner would be me and my team. It can be a general partner, can be one or many people, depending on the complexity of the business and everything else like that. Basically, the general partner, right, like me, we're finding the deal, we're doing the due diligence, we're talking with the sellers of these businesses, right, the owners who have ran them for years and hearing about all the information, doing due diligence, looking at all the financials, running that by our CPAs, our accountants, chief of the other marketing people that I'm familiar with, basically my network of business owners and industry professionals to kind of zone in on the right business. So they put the deal together. And then once when they buy it, they execute the business plan. And also they're liable to personally guarantee any loans and other things like that, and the legal liabilities of the business as well, because they're the ones running it and in charge of the day-to-day operations of it. We also put together the debt, the equity, and all the other structures and documents involved, and basically just become the CEO or, on the board of directors or the board of director, depending on the largeness of the business. So the limited partner are the investors, and what they're doing is pretty much they're people, they put money in. They can sometimes give counsel and guidance if they have specific industry knowledge or other business backgrounds or professional knowledge. But typically, they're just putting money in and collecting monthly or quarterly or annual distributions, depending on how the deal is written out and the cash flow that the business produces. So they do nothing, right? That's kind of nice. It's called mailbox money, right? Your sunsets and palm trees, you're sitting on the beach and getting your monthly or quarterly distributions. And their risk is they don't guarantee the loans. They're not liable for like lawsuits, most lawsuits on the deal, because they have no involvement. So it wasn't their fault anyways that something went wrong in the business, to a limited degree. And then also they're limited only to the amount of capital they put into the deal, right, that they invested. So if you invest 100,000, that potentially could be lost, but also potentially you could have a huge gain on it as well. So what they do, obviously, right, we need to make this fair, right? One person's doing a lot of work, some's doing none, but also there is value in bringing money to the deal, because this deal couldn't happen without you, right? So what you do is you split the profits between the general partner, the GP, and the LP, the limited partners. And again, you can have multiple limited partners, just depends on the deal. So the GP can also, so they can do profit splits. There's many ways to skin this cat, But typically the general partner would take some fees along with the deal, like an acquisition fee, some management fees for their time, maybe some other performance hurdles or profits or bonuses. If it produces a certain return, they might get more share of the pie and other things like that. The limited partners could get a preferred return, meaning a certain percentage, like let's say 5% or 10% of what they invested every year is due to them first before profits are split between the general partner and the limited partner. Some other things like that. I mean, there's many things you can write in. You can make it complex or as simple as you want it to be. All right, so they've kind of come together. Now we found the business, and the business I'm kind of looking for, it's a Main Street type of business, working class type of business. And, the owner, he's kind of older, right? He wants to retire maybe immediately or in a couple years, right? Or maybe 10 years at the most. He's low on energy. He typically doesn't want to grow the business or grow it any further. And just because he's happy where it's at, right? He's happy making $500,000 or $1 million a year or $200,000 a year. And he just doesn't want the stress to grow it. But, he's made a good reputation from the past 20 years. He has great brand awareness and a reputation. And, let's give it to him. It's a very profitable business that he's grown. He or she has grown. And there's very little marketing that they're doing, right? Most of these business owners that I'm talking to, they just have 20 years of a business book of people they've been working with. And so they don't really do much with marketing. Many that I'm seeing, they spend less than 1%, even 0.5% of their gross revenue on marketing, if any. So it's nothing. It's just a drop in the bucket. Where I was growing a business, I was spending 5%, 10%, in marketing every month, and it just helped us grow so much. So it just depends. And so that just shows there's huge untapped potential with a website that wasn't built in the 1990s or 2000s, right? Social media, right? Having that and all the interest and the hype coming from that, actually spending money on marketing dollars, advertising, and also the word of mouth. So they only had word of mouth. So that's some huge value that you could add. Another thing is that, they've had some employees for years, and some are good and great, right? We want to keep them on and reward them, but some are not so good. And some of these employees, they're just good friends with the owner is what I'm seeing. And, the owner really won't hold the slackers accountable. So maybe it takes, like someone that runs it like a business instead of a bunch of friends and, sets expectations and sets the bar and, gives people warnings. Of course, they're firm but fair. But if these people won't perform and, do as good as the other people in the company, well, they either need to step up or step out of the business. And I think that's great too, because that rewards the people that are doing great, right? They're going to see like, oh, hey, I actually am now, my value is noticed, and then I'm doing great. So, and obviously just they're energy suckers. So anyways, they may be lacked. They might not have, organized systems and processes, right? They are just really good at doing like the certain trade. Maybe they are a great plumber and they started out just as a solo plumber, and all of a sudden they grew to a team of 20 different plumbers. They're good at doing the plumbing and making sure it's right and good customer service, but they're not so great at being business owners and things like that. So I'm looking for that. And they use old outdated technologies, or don't even have technology. They don't even know what a CRM means, a customer relationship management software, right? They don't know how to have automations and email automations and other things going on in the business to save dozens of hours of time through softwares. Half the phone calls are missed. How many of you have seen a plumbing, call to get your HVAC fixed at night, or Saturday morning, and you call, no one answers, call the next company, no one answers, call the next, and after 4 or 5 calls, finally someone answers their phone, and you're like, please just come over. I don't care what it costs. Fix my HVAC. It's boiling hot, sizzling hot here in the summer, or it's freezing cold and my wife has 10 blankets on, right? So we want a company that will answer the calls live, right? And I have way good processes for that, and call centers that I can make that happen with. So there's just a lack of staff, and they just don't have that desire to grow. Then I hear this one a lot. It's interesting. I don't want to have more employees because I don't want to have to give them benefits. And it's funny because first off, it's at 50 employees where you need to start giving benefits. And so like an owner has 10 employees. He's like, well, I heard like if you have so many employees, you have to provide them, life health insurance benefits. And I was like, well, it's at 50. I don't know if you knew that. So you're nowhere near that, number one. But number two, why would you not want to give your employees benefits if they need them, right? That would keep them in longer. They're your most valuable asset. So maybe they're just kind of lost that mentality over the years, kind of lost that love and appreciation for their employees, and they need someone like me who can come in and do all that and much more. So add some energy and pizzazz. Like I was saying, the baby boomers, they're worn out and tired of hearing the same things for 20, 30 years. And us millennials, we're fresh. I haven't been hearing the same thing forever, and I'm ready with a fresh energy to step into this business and grow it as the CEO. So that's what I was planning on doing, grabbing that. You can see a lot of value in it. I'm just coming in, going to increase revenue, increase the profit margins, create a brand and a real good reputation, and hire staff to increase production. I mean, real basic, simple things, but also hard to do, right? Easy to say on paper, but it takes hard work and dedication. Roll up your sleeves and get in there, be a good example, set a great culture and expectations and everything else in the business. And that's what I've performed well on my other businesses, Memphis Investment Properties. We grew from about 5 full-time employees on our payroll to about 20 or so. And we were flipping about, 100 to 200 properties a year, and we got up to 300 a year over the 6 years I was there. So that's definitely something I can perform on. And I've business consulted for many other companies and people like that. So not saying I'm amazing or, whatever, the best in the world, but I think I'm good enough to be able to perform and do all this. The track record's shown it. So let's say we get this puppy, we buy it, we pool our money together. It grows from 1 million to 2 million EBITDA in 5 years. Pretty reasonable goal. And it's up to 10 million plus in revenue. Oh, sorry. And it sells for $10 million plus. Okay. So as you can see, some huge potentials. We bought it for 4.2, sells for 10 million, and we've paid down the loan on the loan on this business as well over the years. So lots of upside and returns. So here's my investment targets, 3 to 25 million in revenue, $1 to $3 million in EBITDA. I actually like businesses where, they're geographically, that's their main factor for growth. So if they want to go grow, they need to go set up another office in another city or state somewhere, meaning not tons of competitors can come in and beat you out. I'm open to a range of industries, but I like service businesses, wholesale industry, specialty trades, and manufacturing, and also a great company history. I do want, some general management, a general management team in there and other things like that. This is what I do, Acorn Equity and Acquisition. So, guys, get in touch. If you're interested in this deal and you're an accredited investor, feel free to go down here and click invest with us. That'll get you on the list when I find a potential business to buy and present to you the opportunity to potentially partner up with me and invest alongside me in this business for you as a limited partner and me as a general. You can read my bio and other things. So thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.